Good morning or good afternoon, friends. I'm so happy to be joining you for our February School Pride Assembly. This month we are talking about compassion. And while I read this book to you back in April during quarantine, there is a recording. I wanted to read it to you again. The book is called Each Kindness. Jacqueline Woodson is one of my favorite authors, and I think this is a wonderful book to teach you more about compassion. Each Kindness. That winter, snow fell on everything, turning the world a brilliant white. One morning, as we settled into our seats, the classroom door opened, and the principal came in. She had a girl with her, and she said to us, "This is Maya." Maya looked down at the floor. I think I heard her whisper, "Hello." We all stared at her. Her coat was open, and the clothes beneath it looked old and ragged. Her shoes were spring shoes, not meant for the snow. A strap on one of them had broken. Our teacher, Miss Albert, said, "Say good morning to our new student," but most of us were silent. The only empty seat was next to me. That's where our teacher put Maya. On that first day, Maya turned to me and smiled, but I didn't smile back. I moved my chair, myself, and my books a little farther away from her. When she looked my way, I turned to the window and stared out at the snow. And every day after that, when Maya came into the classroom, I looked away and didn't smile back. You can already tell that that's not very compassionate behavior. My best friends that year were Kendra and Sophie. At lunchtime, we walked around the schoolyard, our fingers laced together, whispering secrets in each other's ears. One day, while we were near the slide, Maya came over to us. She held open her hand to show us the shiny jacks and tiny red ball she'd gotten for her birthday. "It's a high bouncer," she said, but none of us wanted to play. So Maya played a game against herself. We don't have recess this year, but every year during recess when I go outside, I look around to make sure that everyone is playing with someone or feels connected to someone. And that's the work we do out on our recess playground to make sure that everyone feels like they have something to do and people they can connect with. That is the opposite of the behavior that the girls in the story have so far. That afternoon, when we got back into the classroom, Maya whispered to me, "Bet you can't guess who the new Jacks champion of the world is." Behind me, Andrew whispered, "Chloe's got a new friend. Chloe's got a new friend." "She's not my friend," I whispered back. The weeks passed. Every day we whispered about Maya, laughing at her clothes, her shoes, the strange food she brought for lunch. Some days Maya held out her hand to show us what she had brought to school: a deck of cards, pickup sticks, a small tattered doll. Whenever she asked us to play, we said no. That's certainly not the way of Hubbard School students. The days grew warmer and warmer. The pond thawed. Grass began growing where snow had once been. One day, Maya came to school wearing a pretty dress and fancy shoes. But the shoes and dress looked like they'd belonged to another girl before Maya. "I have a new name for her," Kendra whispered. "Never knew. Everything she has came from a secondhand store." We all laughed. Maya stood by the fence. She was holding a jump rope, but did not come over to ask us if we wanted to play. After a while, she folded it double, rolled the ends around each hand, and started jumping. She jumped around the whole schoolyard without stopping. She didn't look up once. She just jumped and jumped. And I'm sure you can imagine how lonely she's feeling. She tried over and over again to connect with the girls in her class, and they kept making fun of her and calling her names. The next day, Maya's seat was empty. In class that morning, we were talking about kindness. Miss Albert had brought a big bowl into class and filled it with water. We all gathered around her desk and watched her drop a small stone into it. Tiny waves rippled out, away from the stone. "This is what kindness does," Miss Albert said. "Each little thing we do goes out, like a ripple, into the world." Then Miss Albert let us each drop the stone in as we told her what kind things we had done. Joseph had held the door for his grandmother. Kendra helped change her baby brother's diaper. Even mean old Andrew had done something. "I carried teacher's books up the stairs," he said, and Miss Albert said it was true. I stood there holding Miss Albert's rock in my hands, silent. "Even small things count," Miss Albert said gently, but I couldn't think of anything and passed the stone on. Maya didn't come to school the next day or the day after that. Each morning I walked to school slowly, hoping this would be the day Maya returned and she'd look at me and smile. I promised myself this would be the day. I smiled back. "Each kindness," Miss Albert had said, "makes the whole world a little bit better." But Maya's seat remained empty, and one day Miss Albert announced to the class that Maya wouldn't be coming back. Her family had to move away, Miss Albert said. Then she told us to take out our notebooks. It was time for spelling. That afternoon, I walked home alone. When I reached the pond, my throat filled with all the things I wished I would have said to Maya. Each kindness I had never shown. I threw small stones into it over and over, watching the way the water rippled out and away, out and away. Like each kindness, done and not done, like every girl somewhere holding a small gift out to someone, and that someone turning away from it. I watched the water ripple as the sun set through the maples, and the chance of a kindness with Maya became more and more forever gone. Boys and girls, this story unfortunately teaches about compassion a little too late, right? For our main character here, she didn't show compassion to a new student who we all know if we move somewhere, we've had quite a few new students come from other schools, and you feel uncomfortable and people have known each other since preschool or kindergarten and you have to kind of start all over. And you have the choice to show compassion and think about how they might feel and invite them to be a part of the life you already have at your school. You have the option to do what our main character here did. Everyone's clothes are not always going to be the same. There's nothing wrong with secondhand clothes, whether you get them from an older cousin or sister or secondhand store. But the characters in this book chose not to show compassion. And now she's feeling the heavy weight of having done that to Maya, who she can never forge a relationship with or who she can never apologize to because she had to move. So I hope you remember this story by Jacqueline Woodson. I hope it reminds you that every single step you take towards being kinder to each other really does have a ripple out in the world that's greater than us. If you say hello to someone in the store, it might put them in a better mood and they might say hello to the next person. Or if you let someone go ahead of you in line, they might learn that, well, that felt good. I'm going to let someone else go ahead of me in line, or all the other little things that we have control over to show compassion to one another and our greatest degree of kindness. I hope you enjoyed the book, and I will see you soon.